Hey everybody, welcome to the June sampler. I have a few notes to tell you before I get started. We're going to continue with virtual sampler through at least August. It may extend beyond there, but through at least August. For picking up your sampler blocks, you can now go to the front door. You don't have to go to the back anymore. And we're going to do something different with discounts. We are going to give you a card with the discount of the day, and you can shop with that card within a certain time period. And if you have any questions about that, just check your emails. Thanks. Okay, so now I'm going to get started on the block. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make a half square triangle, just like we have before, but I'm just going to go ahead and sew that for you. I've already marked my line. I have my two different fabrics right here, right sides together. Get them together. I'm going to sew these 1/4 inch on either side of the marked line. Okay, I've sewn on one side, and now I'm going to sew on the other. Okay, so I've sewn on both sides, and now I'm going to cut it apart on that marked line. Okay, have my two halves. I'm just going to go ahead and iron these. I'm just going to iron it towards the darker fabric. Okay, there was one. And two. So here's my half square triangles. I'm going to cut off these little bits on the ends because they just add bulk and they get in the way. Okay, so here's my half square triangle, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a rectangle on the side. So I'm going to sew a rectangle on the side like this, and I'm going to do that twice. So I'm going to make two of these. Okay, let me get the other one. I'm going to sew it on the exact same side. Okay, so this is what I have, and I'm going to iron that. Okay, now what goes above this is a piece that's gonna, I'll put it up here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sew these two together. Press that. I'm actually going to press this one towards the background fabric because It's going to lay flatter. Okay, so I'm going to sew these together. I'm going to pin in right here, so those seams match up really nice. Okay, I'm going to get the other one ready. Put a pin in this one too. Okay, so I'm going to sew these. Do the other one. Okay. And now I'm going to press. This one too. Okay, just gonna set that aside. So the next part of the block is making a 4 patch. So I have 4 little squares, and I'm gonna sew them together in little groups of 2. Same thing with this one, just sew them together. Okay, and I'm going to press it towards the darker fabric. Get them both up here. So here are my 2 patches. So I'm going to sew these together so it looks like this. And you want your seams to nest. You know, if they're pressed in opposite directions, then they will nest really well. And so I'm going to put a pin in right where the seams meet. And I'm going to sew it. Press. And it doesn't matter which side you press it to. All right. So here is my little 4 patch. And I want to sew a plain rectangle onto this side. So I'm just going to sew that on. press towards the rectangle. Alright, so this is what I have. And then, just like I did before, I sewed a square onto a rectangle. And so I'm gonna put this, let me put it up here. I put that down there. So if you look at it, I have 3 in a row, 3 dark squares in a row. So I'm gonna put these together and I'm gonna pin it. And you're actually making 2 of these, 2 exact ones. Okay, I'm gonna press. Okay, so I happen to make the other one ahead of time, so I'll show you how this goes. Okay, so that's the block. That's the way I have it designed, but you can of course move things around. You can turn some of these and you get a totally different block. I'll just do one. I don't know if I like that, but that's one way of doing it. You can also turn these. It gives you a totally different block. Let me put it back the way it was. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna sew these together. Let me go ahead and do that. Okay. So when I press this, I'm gonna press it towards the 4-patch side because it's gonna press a lot easier. So I'm gonna do that. There's 1/2. So I'm gonna sew this seam and I'm gonna make sure I pin it right in the center there. press it, and we're all done. So in this block, you're making half square triangles, 4 patches, and then adding on to them just to give you a little more interest. Okay, all right, thanks for watching.